Welcome to this authorized and coffee-fueled treasure hunt in the sharky waters around the Gatsby Islands with Gatsby Deep Diving Queen Ray!
We are doing a total YOLO stream here. I would not say it's authorized. Who's it authorized by? Me? Or you?
So, what about me? I must introduce myself.
Yes.
Ola Vea, the Gatsby scribe. Yeah.
Yep.
I had some problems with Git, and now we're going to fix it.
Yeah. Maybe we should create a little. So this is as I said, quite unplanned. Ola was having some problems when he had forked the Gatsby FuncJam repository and was getting problems kind of as he was starting to work on his FuncJam submission. So I'm going to do the exact same thing and see if I get some errors, or if Ola can then follow along and see where he might have taken a dark turn on his work with the Gatsby FuncJam. So I'm just going to write a little bit of a banner here. I usually do this before. It's so long since I've done these streams like this one, where it is totally unplanned. So let's copy paste the title. Okay. Forking and getting started with Gatsby FuncJam is our jam today.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we have a title. So if somebody shows up, it's just us at the moment. So if somebody shows up, they can see what is happening. And if you're watching this in the replay, welcome to you as well. Anywho, I'm going to start by sharing my screen. So what is the Gatsby FuncJam? Did I close down the... Oh boy, there is so much stuff. Okay. Here. Gatsby FuncJam is Gatsby's newest thing to get us all involved and having fun with Gatsby. Again, they've done the silly side challenge. I think that was last Christmas. We participated in that. And of course, after doing a full summer of Gatsby functions, we wanted to participate in the FuncJam as well. So this is the FuncJam page. And there's a little bit of information. There are some really nice. I need this Mac Mini for my streaming because my computer is not doing so good. So I really want to win this Mac Mini, but if you win that Mac Mini or anyone else, I'm going to be happy for you as well. So it says how to participate. So we're just going to jump straight into the how to participate. And it says review and fork the example submission repo. So let's head on over to the example submission repo. And when you fork a repo, as it said in the instruction, you click this little fork button. I've already forked it. I've clicked fork. I clicked yes, and it created a repository under my username in GitHub. And as you can see here, it then says Ray Gatsby FuncJam 21 forked from. So you have that connection to where it's coming from. And I haven't looked at these instructions like thoroughly, but it says a review and fork. So it might seem like you need to have it as a fork to be able to participate in the FuncJam. So we don't want to break up this connection. But when you have this connection, when it's forked, there are some issues often when you're trying to do work, because it always wants to kind of push everything back to the original repository. And we don't want to submit anything to Gatsby and it changes. We just want to work on our own repository.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to try to do now. And then we'll see. So there's also this like fetch upstream, which means that if there's been any changes, if Gatsby has done any changes on their repository, we can get the changes. So I see here 16 days ago. I don't know when they changed last. Yeah, it's 16 days ago. So they haven't done any changes. So let's go back to our own. So we want to check this one out. So I usually just click the code. I have the GitHub CLI installed, so I use that, but you can also use the regular SSH or HTTPS. But I have the GitHub CLI installed, so I'll copy this one and head over into my terminal and paste that in. So yeah, and then we need to change into that. We need to change into that folder. So I'm moving into that folder. So this looks like it's everything. And then I do a code dot to open it in my code. I trust this, yes. And here we do have the whole thing. There's a form, there are pages, there's a package JSON, it's a README. Okay, so cool. So that is working, but I'm guessing, and then we need to do an npm install to install all the dependencies.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're tuning in live, let us know who you are. That makes it so much more fun. If you're looking at this on Twitter, you could head on over to youtube.com/raycodes, and this will show up there and you can join the chat. I forgot to add a link to the tweet this time around, or to the Periscope thing. Oh, this is so much fun, isn't it? Installing everything. But I'm just going to open up another terminal and have a little bit a look at what is the remote repositories or the remote URLs our local GitHub repository is connected to. So I think it's git remotes. Remote.
It's we.
Yeah. So if you do the -v, it's for verbose, actually. If you git remote, you will only see the shorthand, and then you do git remote -v, it's for verbose, that you get more information. And here you can see that, okay, it looks correct though, because the origin is Ray Gatsby FuncJam, and then we can see there's an upstream. So our origin remote is my repository, Ray Gatsby FuncJam, and then there's also another remote that is called the upstream remote, which we won't be using. So we could just delete that remote, but since it has a name that we probably won't confuse, we could just leave that in. So where did you start running into problems, Ola? Was it after your npm install?
No.
Oh, I know what is happening. Now I know what happened to you, because I did an npm install, and look at that. We have a node module. And if I look at git status, it's trying to install it's trying to commit the node modules and the package lock. So we want the package lock to be installed, but we don't, or committed, but we don't want the node modules. So what Gatsby has forgotten to do here is add a Git Ignore file to the repo. And that's why you probably got that too many changes. You said you got an error message about there being too many changes, because if you can see here, it's 5K. So there's like more than 5,000 changes, because every file in this node module wants to be committed to the project. So it's tracking all of the changes inside of node modules. So the way to get around that issue is by creating your own .git ignore file. And these usually come with projects. If you clone or check out
no .ignore here.
Yeah, so I think that was your problem, because VS Code gets a little bit stressed out because you have this visual source control feature of Visual Studio Code, and if that tracks too many changes, the whole thing can crash. So the first thing to just fix this specific problem is to do git or inside of git ignore, you do node modules. That should ignore the whole of node modules. And if we give it a little bit, do a little bit of refresh here, we can now see that our changes are down from like 5K changes to 2 changes. So do you want to try and do the same?
Yeah. So you asked, where was the problem? The problem was when I tried to commit.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. So I click on that little thing where you have a number 2 there,
Yeah.
Red, you have a pink. Yeah, I clicked on that, and I didn't get a number. I didn't get a 2. I got a clock.
Yeah. So
I still have a clock. I still have a clock there.
So
Yeah.
I think the problem there is that since you didn't have ignored the node modules, all of those 5,000 files or even more, joined in on your changes. And when you try to commit that many changes, VS Code just collapsed on you. I think that was probably your problem. But so
interesting. What Inesa talked about Webpack, is this Webpack problems?
No, this is just Git problems. So when you use Git version control, we do that to version control the files that we write. We don't need it to track all of that. Like anything that can be npm installed doesn't have to be a part of your project. So you don't need to commit all of these node modules because you are not, making those. Somebody else are making those. And if I'm going to contribute to your project, I check out your project and then I do an npm install to get all of those dependencies. You don't have to ship kind of those dependencies with your code because I can always go out on the internet and grab those. And also those are a lot of files. So you could commit them, but that is not best practice. Best practice is for your node modules folder to stay out of version control. Because you can always grab those files when you clone somebody else's repository. And we'll see some more fun changes now, because if we now do an npm run develop, which I guess is the next step to see if we can run this project, we see now that, Gatsby is creating a cache folder. We don't want to commit the cache folder. That's not files that we have done any work on. So we'll have to... And you see now we suddenly have 151 changes because the cache is writing all of these files, and they will be written every time you run npm run develop. Every time you do Gatsby develop, it will create this cache folder. It would also create this public folder, which is what we deploy when we deploy a Gatsby project. So both the cache folder and the public folders are not code that we want to commit to Git. These the public and the cache is part of... I think is there a cache in the build? I guess there's depending on where to build, but at least it creates this cache every time you do develop, creates this public, which are the files that we could deploy. So we don't want any of that either. So we'll have to Git ignore the cache. We have to Git ignore public folder. And you now see that they are gray, so they are no longer part of our... it's no longer trying to track changes in those folders or their files. So usually, though, when a well-made kind of example, a tutorial usually has a correct Git ignore file already in the repository, because there's usually a lot more that you might want to ignore. Say we wanted to create environment variables. So let's see, we want to create a development. So you are working on working on your timeship function, right, Ulla? And then you are going to use some secrets that you put in here. For instance, are you doing the user list?
Nope.
Let's see you do the Google anything.
No, you don't just ask me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the regular timeship first, and then I'll do the Stripe later.
Okay. So let's say you have a Stripe key. And this is very, very...
No. You said that we can put the city in the environment variables. Yeah,
we could do that. So let's do the city equals Oslo, and then the year equals 2021. So these are super 2026. So these are super secret. Nobody is supposed to know these except for Ulla. Yes. And then so you put them in the development, and then he also will add them to the environment variables in Gatsby Cloud when he deploys. But for development purposes, he need these. And now you see, so development is now tracked as something that we want to change and commit. And if we now accidentally commit this file, then it will forever be on GitHub now, but then you've committed your secret. So with Oslo in 2026, it's not the end of the world, but if this was your Stripe key, somebody else could get access to your Stripe account. Then it's very important. If you accidentally commit a file a develop an environment variable file like this, then you have to quickly go over to Stripe and then invalidate that key, and then you need to update that key everywhere else where you've used that key. So that's why also in the Git Ignore you want to do dot env and then a star, which means that any file that starts with .env should not be tracked.
And .star.
Yeah, because that means if it starts with .env so .env production, development, I think Gatsby uses production and development as part of their scripts. So if you do Gatsby develop, then it uses env.development, and then if you do Gatsby build, it uses env.production. But often though, like if we were going to share work on this, you want to give me an example file, and we often call that .env.example. But if I add an example file now, we copy that development, and then we usually just leave it like that, or we use these little brackets just to like put your city here, city, year, and your Stripe key. If you ever see example code with these like pointy things, I don't know what they're called, that usually means that you should replace whatever that is. So you put your whole Stripe, you remove that and you put your Stripe key in. If you're now going to look at the files that we are going to commit, this example file is not there, and you want to commit the example file so that when I download your repo, I can see what environment variables are needed. I don't get to see what you've put in there, but I need to see what is needed by the code. And to make that happen, we can do a exclamation mark .env.example. What this exclamation point means is a not. So it says git ignore every file starting with .env that starts with .env except for .env example. We don't want to ignore .env.example. Are you with me? Do you have any questions?
Yes, I have questions. So I will share my screen now. Is it okay?
As long as you're not sharing secrets on your screen.
Wow. Good point. Never trust the user.
Never trust the user, exactly.
Okay. Here. No, add to stream. Remove. Is that you? That's me. Okay. Oh my goodness. I have to do like that. Do you see it now?
Yeah, if you double click on that little bar, it will take up the whole screen and I don't have to see myself.
If I double click on the little bar.
On the little window bar, all the way on the top.
Am I in the StreamYard now?
No, in your VS Code, up where it says Git Ignore Gatsby FuncJam, double click there and the window will be enlarge itself. Even further up, all the way there. Double click. There we go.
Okay. Do you see over here is a little clock?
Mm-hmm.
I click it.
Yeah, and then you want to do the little refresh button above everything. Do the refresh, and hopefully it will now try to refresh itself.
I'm trying to push the refresh. Nothing happens.
No, so I think your VS Code has crashed. So I would close it and start again.
All right. Okay, I see it.
I'm going to remove you while you do that so we don't see your screen.
What happened? Why did he go away?
And oftentimes, I'm just going to, while you try to make it work, I can talk a little bit about these Git Ignore files. So oftentimes
Can we talk a little less and just do it?
Well, you can just mute me and I can talk to whoever's watching the video while you do your work.
No, that's not what I mean, but okay. Oh. No, just talk away.
So I will then commit this because I will do added Git Ignore.
All right. It looks like my clock went away.
Good.
It's damned a bit slow. But it's damned a bit slow, so I don't know.
You might have to restart your whole computer because you probably haven't done that in a while. Added Git Ignore. And
okay, 1, 2, 3, I will say something.
Sample environment variables. Yeah.
And the folder currently open doesn't have a Git repository. Oops, there it went away.
That means that
slow.
Yeah, you probably opened the wrong
folder. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It doesn't have. Okay, so I'm in the wrong thing. Yeah, maybe I am. All right, you just talk. I'll take a look. Oh no, it's just been slow. Now I'm there.
I think you need to give the stream and need to give your computer a complete restart. Petter is here in his lunch break. Hey, Petter. We've been doing
Hello, Petter!
I'm just gonna, oftentimes, let's just do an initial commit. So we have started on the Gatsby FuncJam, Petter, and it turns out the project didn't have a Git Ignore, so Ola's VS Code crashed because when he did an npm install, there was about 5,000 or 6,000 files changed. So we created a Git Ignore file for this project. So the node modules, the Gatsby cache, the Gatsby public, and then all of the env files, and then we said that we still want the env example to be tracked. I'm going to grab one of these from another Gatsby project because I think there are some more things we maybe should ignore, but let's just start with this for now. So we created an initial commit. So let's try then to push that to our repo. And that looks like it worked perfectly. So I think your major issue was that this ignore file was missing, giving you many files changed. But since we're already here, I could start on my FuncJam submission. Or what do you think, Ola?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
I say yes.
My plan is to create a pay what you want feature like I did for Gatsby Summer Functions webinar, but with a twist.
No, I want to do
that. Well, I wrote it first in the discussion that I wanted to do that. Yeah. I want to do a pay what you want.
You did? Oh, I did.
I'm going to create a pay what you want submission, but I'm also going to do it, pay what you want for access to a private repo. So you could end up using this to sell access to your code. I thought that could be a fun solution. What do you think, Ola?
Yes.
So I plan to set up a test repository that is private, and then when you pay what you want over a certain amount, you get access to the private repository. So that's my plan. What's your plan?
I like it. Yes. So I'm just trying to lock down some of my many evil Chrome windows. Bye.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So I got about 15 minutes, and then I have to go. So
I've done this before. I didn't expect to go on stream today. Okay, I will now share it.
It's our YOLO stream. Are you going to share something? Okay.
I'm trying to move around on my computer, but everything is very slow. I can't do it. No, I can't. I can't move around.
No, I think that you have thoroughly crushed. Yeah, but we're not gonna. You are cracking up, so you are not going to be allowed to share because everything is just too slow.
Okay. I will say that. I want
What do you want?
I want to run my timeship on money.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? Am I cracking so much up that you can't hear what I'm saying?
I heard you want to run your timeship on money.
Yes.
Yes. So,
and that's it.
Oh, Petra is asking if we're still on for streams on Friday. Yes, we will be streaming on Friday. It's the final stream of the Gatsby Summer Function series. And then we'll have a little bit of a break. And then we're going to come back with season 2 of Gatsby Deep Dives. Either in 2 or 3 weeks. We haven't really decided yet. So sign up for the newsletter on queen.ray.codes and you will get an email when we start up again after tonight. So I'll just start coding then, Ola, because this will be interesting for you as well. I want to use Axios instead of fetch. I don't like fetch. So I'm going to install Axios. And then they use React hook form. I can use that. And I need the GitHub name, GitHub username, to give them access to the repo I'm selling. Oh, I think Ula might be, no, he's back. You could go off screen and then restart your computer and then come back, Ula, if you want to.
No.
GitHub username. So we obviously need to make some like beautiful, I need to make some sort of like beautiful site for this. But to begin with, we pay what you want above dollar, how many? Dollars, 1,000 for my private GitHub repo.
I'm sorry to.
So we'll need.
I've been so much away now, but did you answer Peter's question here? It's still on streams.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. Yep. I don't know. Our names are gone when we.
What are you having for lunch, Peter? Brödskiva?
GitHub username. I don't need last names. I don't need email because I'm going to capture that in the payment. I don't need a number. I don't need a title. So I just kind of need the GitHub username, and then I need the amount they're willing to pay. So username, that's type text. Oh, and this is from React.
I love it.
I mean, that is the most Norwegian I've heard in a long time. Username.
That's lovely.
And then the price they're willing to pay.
Add coffee. Yeah.
Okay, price they're willing to pay. So I need an input of price. And it's a number. And it is price. Username. Okay, and I probably, with React hook form, I can probably do some validation so that they have to go above 1,000. Okay, yes, so here it says required true max length 80. No, that is not correct. So let's head on over to React hook form and see if we can learn something. So Peter is saying the amount of coffee and files in node modules are similar. Yeah, we had quite a few. Where did my coffee go? Custom use form. Register.
What are you doing
register.
now?
I am trying to register a new. I'm trying to use this React hooks form that came with the repo.
Yeah.
and I want it to be an interpret of number, and then I want to say the max and min. So I don't want to have a max, but I want to have a min number. So I want the minimum amount you have to pay to be $1,000 for my amazing private repository.
$1 million. That was Dr. Evil.
So let's have a look at our. We're not going to finish this. We're just YOLO coding a little bit.
Can I ask
So pay what
Peter
you want to.
question?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll
So
just hang
Peter,
out.
You should make a Gatsby function. It's not that many days left, but you know.
There are some cool prices.
There are 6 days left, but you can get a Mac Mini. Yeah.
So on submit, we get the data. Where's this data coming from? Oh, so we're using handle submit coming from use form that comes from React hook form. And then that handle submit seems to get an data submitted to it. Okay, and then we send in our custom on submit. So instead of fetch, we're going to use Axios.
Yes. We like the Axios better.
And it's going to be a post, not an Axios.
Might be totally... What do I have to do to enter? Yo, listen to this question from the audience. Whoa!
Okay, I'll show you.
Yeah.
FuncJam 21.
Yes.
It's Gatsby FuncJam. Submit your functions, and it's only running until August 31st, which I think means that you might have some, have a chance of winning. So the top 3 entries get to choose between a Mac 1 Mini or...
He didn't ask about that. He asked about how.
Okay, so you click this submit your functions.
Yes.
And then you fill out this Google form, and that's how you...
no, you need to fork the repo just like you're doing now.
And also, it said here that you need to review and fork the example submission repo. And that's what we did and got into trouble because the example submission repo doesn't have a Git Ignore. So fork, add a Git Ignore, and then start working on your function. But it's open for everyone.
Yes,
not for people working at Gatsby, though, but for everyone else, it's open.
So unless you're planning on getting hired the next couple of days, you're good to go.
And us being all unauthorized and rum-fueled over here, we are going to do that. So
I'm going to submit with all my GitHub accounts.
Post. You're gonna. So Lillian will be submitting as well.
Yeah. Bad Cat Dad. Yeah, all of them.
So Ola will be. No, but it actually did say though you don't have to submit with different accounts because it says, "Can I have more than one submission?" Of course, you go getter you. It says
what I can.
Yes.
Whew.
So what do we want to call our function though?
When you said, of course, you go getter you, that just sounded like lazy, didn't it? Or is it Kirsten?
It's Lacey, I think.
Yes.
She is the marketing manager over at or the head market. I don't know what her title is. I think she's the one that organizes the FuncJam API. And what should we call this? My function.
What are you gonna use the money for?
My secret empire.
Okay. What does that entail specifically?
Usually I want to call the function something very understandable.
Yes.
So let's just call it a payment. Yes. Or buy. Let's call it buy.
But what are we buying?
We're buying access to my private GitHub repo for at least $1,000.
Oh. Code.
Oh. Yeah, we're buying code.
Buy code. Is that even legal?
It is.
Okay. Good. Is it open for everyone? Yes, it is.
So you want to wait for the result, and then in our buy function, we need to create a checkout session with Stripe so that we can get a checkout URL, and then we return that, and then we need to redirect to that checkout URL. So then we do window location result dot URL, and then I need to create my function.
Yes.
Const. I never remember how to write these myself.
I always do export default async function handler.
Export default async function
handler.
Wow, you are good at remembering things.
No, don't like that. You can't. Yes. And recres.
Of course. Recres.
Rec is a bat. Res is a cat.
So in this instance, we're just going to console log the body so we can see that we get the correct information in. And then we're going to return JSON with the URL. And let's just start with an example URL. But here, inside of this, inside of our buy function, what we want to do here is that one, we want to create a Stripe checkout session.
Yes. I remember doing this in the olden days.
Yeah, for the amount over 1,000, or for the amount. But first we need to validate, actually, because in case somebody sends this in and is paying less than 1,000, so you want to validate that the amount is above 1,000, and then create a Stripe checkout session for the amount or 1,000. So if they've written something less than 1,000, they get defaulted to 1,000. No, I'm going to do some client-side validation too. And then 3, get checkout URL from the get checkout session. And then return or respond with that URL, but we're not doing all of that code now. We're just going to do this first step. So hopefully this now works. Let's have a look. Does not work. Oh, on submit needs to be async. So I'll put in my GitHub username and then the price I'm willing to pay, 2,000. Oh, so what happens if I do 4? Then I think I get some sort of error from this, from the React use form.
Yes, do it.
Let's see. Yeah, so now I'm not allowed to submit because the price is not large enough.
No, I can't see. Where do you prove that it's too small? What's the
in
proof?
here? I'm getting an error. So automatically from the form, I'm getting this error, and I think I can give a message.
Back.
So true min. Can I do a message here? Too small. Let's see what error we're getting. Yeah, we're not getting a very useful error, but we're at least getting an error that it's. I have to look into this, how we use the what kind of errors you get back from React hook form. But at least it doesn't want to submit because it's too small. So if we do 2,000 or 42,000, we are allowed. And window location is not a function. It's a window location equals result URL. Take this one away.
Boom. It looks like my computer feels a little better now. It was Chrome. Yeah, I opened the activity monitor and there's like Chrome all over the place, but also the Visual Studio Code is taking up super much.
So it's a result data URL.
Yes.
So if we go back to localhost and we have a little bit of a look at the network tab,
Yes.
we said we want to pay 3,000. We send it in. We see we hit the buy. We were hitting the buy API Gatsby function, and then we sent back.
I didn't see it. I didn't.
We sent back that the URL that we are gonna redirect to was example. So far this is working.
I can't see it. Where is it?
Let's see, auxiliary draw. I'm gonna show the drawing I did yesterday.
But I didn't see it happening.
Okay, so let's go back and do it again, and you will have to follow very, because it's gonna go away. If you have a look in this window here, the network tab, okay,
Yeah,
keep
I'm
your
looking.
eyes, keep your eye
I'm
on the
looking.
price. 4,000 cents. Oh, did you see it said buy?
No, but there was something going.
Yeah. And then if we go back to our functions running, you can see that username Ray price 3,000, username Ray price 4,000. So
Excellent.
what we're trying to do is this top part here. We need trying to create a checkout session and redirect to the checkout URL. So we're posting in this case to API buy, and then our Gatsby function will post to Stripe to create a session. We'll get the session back. We're going to get the URL from that session, send it back to our Gatsby site, and then the Gatsby site is gonna redirect to that checkout URL. Question.
So on the top there, it says Gatsby site, and the first arrow, is that like a request?
Yes, so that's a post request.
And then the next arrow is also a post request.
Yes.
And that is res.
The requests are going this way and the responses are going the other way.
What does it has to do with res? Does it have anything to do with res?
Yeah, so to send this response, you use res.json, and that's when you send, that's what creates that error. When you do res.send or res.json, it creates that error and sends a response to a Gatsby site. And when
up there it's rec. Post is a rec.
So when you're standing on the Gatsby function line, what the data that comes with this arrow, you can find that on the rec object.
Yes. Yes.
And then when you're down here, after getting everything from Stripe, you use the res object to send something back to your Gatsby site.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And res is a cat and rec is a bat.
In your world, it is.
And that's amazingly good, because you see here in the drawing, I can't point, but I'll try with my finger. You see on top, it's a bat flying.
Yes.
It goes like this. And then down below, it's the cat walking back.
Okay. Let's wrap it up. I have a meeting at 1.
Yes. Can I? Okay. Should I try to summarize?
Yeah, go ahead and tell me what I should show then.
Okay. No, forget about showing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just put us on the screen thing. Okay, so. Oh, now I can't see myself. Can you hear me? Oh, I can't see myself.
I can hear you.
Good. So we started out, and Gatsby, they have this repo here, and I am going to fork it here, and that's mine. And I must not push my changes to them. I must keep it here in my hand. I'm going to put this away now. This is bye-bye, Gatsby. And then in here, I need a .git ignore thing, or else I can't commit. That was evil. And now I can commit. And then I make my changes, and then I push it up, and I go into the form you had there, and I fill out all the little things, but I also must deploy it to Gatsby Cloud or something, right? It must be deployed. Yes.
Yes.
So I already did that. I deployed my thing. I deployed it because I just started another repo.
Yeah.
I faked the repo and I deployed
Faked
it, and it worked. So and then I deploy, and then I submit it, and then why? So what are they looking for? You know, what are the winning criterias here? Do we even know?
I'm not.
No.
Should we have a look at that before we go? Or
no.
I think it was like originality and some other things.
Yeah, good. So what basically why I ask is, you should submit, people. Submit to the Gatsby FuncJam.
Yeah.
Say yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna submit.
Yeah, me too.
I want to win the M1.
Yes. But you don't have to do something crazy like Stripe that the Queen Benedicta Ray just did. You can do something.
You can do something fun. I think they also always look for like creative solutions. So,
Yes.
you know, you could create something. But I think you said that in a discussion somewhere, Willa, that they're probably also looking for useful things, because it's important, I think, for Gatsby to show that it can be used in real world, you know, situations. So whatever you have, if you made a function in a project already, then submit that function, because then at least you can say that this was useful for me in a project I just did. So it might be useful for other people.
Was it Armu or Inesa who swapped out? Oh, hey, I have a question here from the audience. Oh, yes.
I think it could be only a function. So if you create, but I think to make a complete example, you would create like at least an index page that would do something with that function instead of so you're in like the Gatsby site can be super minimal, but there needs to be a demo somewhere that shows shows you what happens with the function. So the demo page could just be a button that calls your function, for instance. I would think.
So do you have any ideas?
I am not officially a part of this. So this is just my understanding from reading the FuncJam page.
I would love to. Please invite me to your repo or something on GitHub, Peter. I would like to, see it, and then because I think that what they're actually looking for is somebody using it, and I think that if you don't have an index or any demo or nothing and just have a function, I think that's my personal opinion. I think that would be cool too, because there are too few people using these Gatsby functions now, and if you just use it, I think you're good, actually. But
he will do it if he gets an idea. So
you don't need a great idea. That's my point. You just need to do something with a Gatsby function. That's what I think. They're not looking for great ideas. They're just looking for somebody using it.
Yeah, but my suggestion for you though, Will, is to just skip the whole use React form and do everything in the index page like we've been doing in Gatsby Summer Functions. So you can just delete the whole example and just start with your own code.
Yes,
because otherwise I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, Peter. I'm not going to have an index page. Actually, I'm going to use the browser address bar, like I've been doing all along. But can I get payments if I do that? I don't know.
No, you can't. No, you can't.
We'll see if this is going to work.
Oh, snap. Okay. I'll see you. We're in the same house, so I'll see you. I'll see you. And Peter, nice to have a lunch with you. That was super cool. And if for some reason you just skipped all the way to the end of this stream, our problem, or Ola's problem, with forking the official Gatsby FuncJam repo is that it was missing a Git Ignore file. So when he started trying to commit his changes, VS Code crashed because there was too many file changes. So you want to add a Git Ignore file. That's it. Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm pushing it.
Are you pushing it? Are you pushing the button?